I've been on over 25 Caribbean cruises and I am on a Caribbean cruise right now. If you are sailing on your first or your 50th Caribbean cruise this year, here is what you need to know. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, can you hear the sounds of the ocean? I'm actually filming right on my infinite veranda right now, but I'm loving this ocean breeze that is coming in. In any case, I wanted to share with you the things that you'll really want to know if you're doing a Caribbean cruise, the tips, the mistakes to avoid, and just some realities of cruising in the region right now. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Okay, so first let's talk about the realities of cruising in the Caribbean and what you can expect. Caribbean cruises are actually the most popular cruise for people to take, whether they are first-time cruisers or frequent cruisers. So with that explosion over the last 10 and 15 years, we have seen cruise ports become more crowded. However, the good news is we also have some newer cruise ports that have popped up and have been developed over the last even 5 years or so. And with that, we have new experiences and new excursions that are available to book. Now, I will actually tell you about a couple of the newer ports that we've been to over the last 2 or 3 years that we've really enjoyed and that we do find give a very good experience to cruisers. Cruise itinerary matters. Now, there are Western Caribbean cruises, Eastern Caribbean cruises, Southern Caribbean cruises, 7-day Caribbean cruises, and longer Caribbean cruises. And they really all do offer a bit of a different experience. Now, something that we've noticed over the last few years, and sometimes people tell me if you are finding this, if you are already a frequent cruiser, is sometimes these 7-day itineraries, especially on newer ships, seem all the same. And I do think that that is a bit of a reality. So if you want to explore a little bit more in the Caribbean, and in my opinion, some of the cruise ports that are a little bit further out in the Southern Caribbean can be some of your most picturesque, and typically you're just not going to have as many cruise ships that are docked there. So if you want an experience that feels a little bit more authentic, that feels less crowded, maybe even a little bit less commercial, then you probably will want to book one of those longer itineraries that goes to some of those Southern Caribbean islands or to the ABC Islands. There are less tender ports. Now, when we first started to cruise over 20 years ago, it was not uncommon to have probably about half of our different cruise ports of call be tender ports. In other words, those smaller boats that would take you from the ship to the island. And honestly, that takes up a lot of time, which is one of the reasons I really dislike taking tenders. There are some reasons in a couple of ports. Usually it has to do with the reefs and the coral around the island, which is why a port cannot be built at a couple of different islands. But this is something we're definitely seeing a little bit less. And in this way, you can walk right off the cruise ship into the port of call and even come back for lunch. Currency. Now, a lot of people do ask, especially if it's their first time going on a Caribbean cruise, what should I do for cash with me? Should I be taking out a local currency? So unless you really want to, you do not have to. Now, I'm going to mention Mexico in this. Some people like to bring Mexican pesos with them, and I do think that if you have Mexican pesos, you may find that you are paying a little bit less. Whenever you're paying in US dollar, if you do calculate the conversion, you're probably getting a little bit ripped off, let's just say. But I do think there is a convenience to just paying in US dollars. So personally, when I go to the Caribbean, this is what I bring with me. Now, speaking of money, and I am going to talk about shopping and some tips and things not to do in just a minute. But speaking of money, make sure that you do have some cash with you. You might want this for a taxi. You might want this for some tips for tour guides, or even if you go to a market and you want to buy some small things, it's not uncommon that if you have any big bills, they may say that they do not have change. Scams. Now, there are some scams that are specific to the Caribbean that you want to watch for. And one of them is product scams. So What you want to watch for is in some places you'll have vanilla or even sometimes tequila or another type of alcohol. If you're not buying it from a reputable store, you may end up with a watered down or fake product. Now, speaking of things to watch for, we should talk about the open Wi-Fi networks in cruise ports and airports and how they aren't always secure, which is where the sponsor of today's video, NordVPN, comes in. When I'm traveling, especially through airports, hotels, and cruise ports, I use NordVPN. It helps protect my connection on public Wi-Fi and gives me peace of mind when I'm logging into email, banking, or travel accounts. These networks are open, shared with hundreds of people, and it's also easy for scammers to set up fake Wi-Fi networks that look legit and quietly capture your data. Now, this is where NordVPN makes a huge difference. NordVPN encrypts your internet traffic, basically putting everything that you do online into a private protected tunnel. So even if you connect to a sketchy Wi-Fi network in port or at the airport, scammers cannot intercept your information, see what you're doing, or grab your passwords. Their Threat Protection Pro feature also helps block fake websites, phishing links, and malicious ads. NordVPN adds an extra layer of protection in situations where most people don't realize they're vulnerable. Now, NordVPN has an amazing offer for my viewers. Get 4 extra months free on a 2-year plan at nordvpn.com/lifewellcruised, and it's risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee. I'll leave a link down below in the description of this video, as well as a pinned comment in case you want to check it out. Shopping. Now, there are a couple of things to watch for if you're going on a Caribbean cruise when it comes to shopping. So first, if you do want to buy any different items, watch out when it comes to jewelry. It is not uncommon, unfortunately, for people to have found that they bought some jewelry in one of the islands, they brought it back home to their local jeweler, and they found out that that gemstone was not real. So if you do want to buy any, precious stones and more expensive jewelry, you really want to make sure that you're buying this in a reputable jewelry store. Now, when you're on the cruise ship, you're going to have shopping ambassadors, if you will. Now, they actually do recommend some of the different stores in the different islands, and part of that is they are getting a percentage of the sale, or they have their own incentive to send you to those different stores. But the good part of that is you also are usually going to a store that's a little bit more reputable. And in fact, this is many years ago, back probably about 20 years ago, but Frank and I, my husband, we did buy some like designer watches in Grand Cayman, and we had our shopping port person who did recommend a store, and it was a very good store. We did get a great deal at the time on the watches. So even though this was recommended by the cruise line, we felt that this was a good decision for us. If you want to buy crafts and other items, or even jewelry and t-shirts, if you can, wait till closer to the end of the day when you're coming back to the cruise ship to buy those items, because in the stores, they are going to be more likely to bargain. And even when it comes to larger purchases, as an example, jewelry and watches, they will bargain. So again, you could go in at the beginning, but go back at the end and see if they may give you a better price. Now, here is a little bit of a Caribbean cruise watch out. So something that you are going to encounter in a lot of the Caribbean islands are people that are, let's just call them aggressive solicitors or vendors. Now, sometimes they're scams and sometimes they are not, but there really are things to watch for. Now, we were in St. Kitts today. We went to a lookout and we took some photos. It was very pretty, but something that we saw was a solicitor with monkeys, and basically he was having people take photos with the monkeys, and then he was charging after, and even soliciting quite aggressively to give more money than the people wanted to give. And in fact, while I was walking by, he actually had the monkey come onto my arm, which I did not like. So I would actually stay away from a lot of the people that do have animals with them, whether they're parrots or they're monkeys. These animals may not necessarily be well treated, and it's also hard to know if they may have any illnesses. Take advantage of cruise line private islands. Now, there are 2 ways that you could take advantage of cruise line private islands, depending on how you look at this. I personally think that private islands get a little bit of a bad rap, because if you are on a Caribbean cruise and you want a beautiful beach and you want a resort style experience, this is really what they are giving you. And there is a lot included, I think, on every cruise line private island. Even some of them that don't include a drink package on the island still do include the facilities and stuff. So this probably is going to be a cheaper day, if not a free day, in comparison to every other cruise port of call. But truthfully, we've had some of the more beautiful beaches at cruise line private islands. Recently, we were on a Disney cruise. We were at Castaway Cay, and oh my goodness, this beach was so incredibly pristine and beautiful and natural. It really did surprise me. And we just put a couple of chairs right into the water and just enjoyed that. Now, we also did have lunch included, so that was something quite good. And this is something that you're going to find at the different private islands, whether it's Half Moon Cay, Royal Caribbean's Perfect Day at Coco Cay, MSC's Ocean Cay, or Carnival Celebration Cay. That said, it is important to know what is included and what is not. However, if you're somebody who doesn't love the idea that much of a private island, stay on the cruise ship. Most of the time on the private island days, most of the cruise ship is going to get off. So you're going to have the cruise ship almost to yourself. Speaking of the beach and port days, very important and something a lot of people forget to do on a Caribbean cruise, and that is to bring sunscreen with them. So make sure that you put sunscreen on more than you even think. Even for myself, I got a little bit more red, and I did have sunscreen on, but sometimes it's a little bit overcast and you kind of forget to do that. So very, very important. The other thing is water shoes. If you're going to, a lot of the private islands can be a little bit rocky sometimes. So bring your water shoes there, and you might want to use them at other beaches as well. Your Caribbean cruise itinerary is not guaranteed. Now, I think a lot of people who cruise regularly realize that it is possible on any itinerary to have changes for a variety of reasons. But one of the reasons in the Caribbean is because of potential unrest or difficult situations or challenges in that destination. Now, one of those destinations is LUGGAGE, Haiti, which is Royal Caribbean's private destination. Now, we've been many times years ago, but haven't been recently, because I think it's been about 2 years that Royal Caribbean, although they may sometimes have LUGGAGE on the itinerary, as it gets a little bit closer, if the situation remains the same, they do remove that and substitute it with another destination. And the other thing that can happen, and it's happened to us many times, is during the cruise, due to weather and potential rough seas, there are times where our route has changed and we've gone to a different island, or sometimes, unfortunately, we've even skipped a port altogether. Ship time versus local time. Super important when you're on the cruise to know if the time on the island is the same on your cruise ship. Now, depending on the cruise, you may have been asked to turn your clocks forward before you go to bed early on in the cruise. And that actually happened to us during our cruise right now. And in this way, we are able to stay on the same time when we're on the island as on the cruise ship, which I do think overall is best, because there is no confusion with getting back to the cruise ship. But that is not always the case. So if you do have a different time when you're on the island, you really want to make sure that you have a digital watch or some other way to know the time on your ship when you're on the island, so you always get back on time. Now, speaking of ship time and all aboard time, something that I like to do is take a photo of the all aboard time, so I never second guess myself a little bit later. The other thing that you can do, just in case of emergencies, is you can take your daily planner. If you have a paper one in your cabin, you can bring that with you. And typically you're going to have the number for the ship if you have an emergency, or the port agent number. And you may have that information posted in the cruise ship as well. Should you bring your passport with you? And otherwise, what ID should you carry with you as you leave the cruise ship? Now, there are a lot of different opinions on this, so please let me know what you do or what you would do when you leave the cruise ship. But we personally leave our passport in our safe in our cruise cabin. Now, what I do always have with me is my cruise card. In addition to my cruise card, I have one piece of government ID. So usually that would be my license. And that's pretty important, because in many cruise ports of call, as you get back into the cruise port area that's gated and has security, they may ask to see your ID. Now, when it comes to a passport, obviously it's great to keep your passport because should something ever happen to you in the island and you don't make it back to the cruise ship on time, then you do have a passport with you. But the way that I see it is I don't plan to miss the cruise ship, so we're very attentive to time. But I also know that the cruise ship, from what I have been told, is they'll actually go into your cabin if that would happen, and they'll look for your passport and obviously the obvious places. So the best place to keep it is your safe, and they will leave it at the port with the port agent. Research your cruise ports and plan your excursions accordingly. Now, one of the things that we usually do before we go on a cruise is we'll actually take a look to see how many cruise ships are in port. There's a website called Cruise Mapper where you can see. And some islands are going to have 5, 6, 7 cruise ships all in at once, and other islands are just going to have 2. So typically we know when we have an island that just has 2 that it is going to be a little bit of a calmer and a quieter environment. Sometimes we've only been 1. Which is really nice. Now, something that we will do if we know there are several cruise ships in port is we intentionally make sure that we plan an excursion, and usually an excursion that actually takes us off land or to a little bit of a exclusive area. And in this way, we don't have to feel the crowds if we're on a catamaran or doing something else that we love. Now, if you're in the Caribbean, there are a couple of islands that I think are really doing a great job right now for cruise passengers in terms of giving people an experience that they can either do for free or close to free right near the cruise port, or otherwise having choices to leave the cruise port area. Now, one of those ports is Port Taino in Dominican Republic. This is really nice. We were just there, and while we didn't stay in this area, we did walk through and we thought, wow, it has really built up every single time we've gone. There's a lazy river there. There is a resort style pool with some dancers and a swim up bar. And there's a more natural pool now with some hammocks that you could lay out on. And there are lounge chairs and day beds that are all completely free to use. Now, of course, they hope you will also maybe eat lunch there and maybe shop in the area, which are all things that you can do. But I think this is an example of one way that I think Caribbean cruise itineraries are getting better. Now, another similar experience, but this is a little bit older, it's been around for a little while, but is Grand Turk. The beach is absolutely beautiful. And also in Grand Turk, this is an area that can be free or very inexpensive to cruisers. You do have a resort style pool that is part of Margaritaville. And while if you do want to buy any food and drinks, you have to do that. But otherwise, the use of the beach, the loungers, the resort pool, that is all complimentary for cruisers. St. Martin. Now, I wanted to share a cruise port that was a little bit contrasting in the way that it still actually is quite natural. Now, there is nothing free to do necessarily for cruisers, but you do have a water taxi that you can take right from the cruise port to the beach in Philipsburg. And the last time I was there, it was only $7 per person. Now, as you go into Philipsburg, you could walk around the town. It's very beautiful. In my experience, I found the prices at the restaurants to be overall quite reasonable, and we had a really nice time. And by the way, that beach is free. Now, if you're going on a Caribbean cruise and you want to make sure that you avoid any scams, I'm going to leave that video right after this one, but I'd love to hear from you. When are you heading on your Caribbean cruise? What tips do you have and what questions do you have? Let me know down in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.